Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I'd like to do a packet tracer lab with you to go over some concepts related to static routing. So I do have a lab prepared for us here, and what I have here are four routers: router 0, router 1, router 2, and router 3. And the goal of this lab is to be able to have router 0 communicate all the way across to router 3 here. You can't. Sorry, let me move that. Okay, so with static routing, in order for routers to communicate outside of their subnets, they have to know about those subnets. And so there's a few ways that a router can know about those. One way is that they can be directly connected to that subnet. So for example, in this case, router 0 is connected to the 192.168.10.0/24 subnet. So it automatically knows about that because it's connected to it. However, it does not know about the .20 or the .30 subnet over here in between routers 1 and 2 and routers 2 and 3. So the other way for a router to know about other subnets is through either static routing or dynamic protocols. Dynamic protocols like OSPF or RIP or EIGRP, you can advertise different networks, and those then propagate through the network to the routing tables in the routers. Today we're not going to do any dynamic routing. We're going to do some static routing. So let me go ahead and start with that. So as I mentioned earlier, router 0 knows about the 10.0 network right here between router 0 and router 1. It already knows about that. And the way that we can know that is by checking the routing table. So what you want to do is you want to go to privileged exec mode, show IP route. Right? And you can tell here that there's a route right here. It's actually already connected right here. Right. Okay. You can tell right here it's connected to the 10.0.0/24 network. Okay. But it does not know about any of the others. You don't see the .20 on here or the .30 network. Okay. So we have to tell it about it. So going to global config mode, we need to tell it about the other two networks it doesn't know about. So it doesn't know about the .20 and it doesn't know about the .30. So you would configure that by going IP route. You're going to tell it the network you want it to know about, 192.168.20.0, 255.255.255.0. And then you have to give it the next hop. Okay, so in this case, the next hop is this G00 interface right here, which is the IP address 192.168.10.2. 192.168.10.2. Now you could also give it the exit interface. If you look here, you can give it either the IP address, or you can give it an exit interface. I prefer the IP address, and from what I understand, most people do as well too. So we're going to give it the IP address of the next hop. So anytime router 0 wants to communicate outside of its subnet, the only one that it can go to is the only next hop it has currently is 192.168.10.2. Okay, so I'm going to apply that. Now, I'm going to hit the up arrow to bring back that command I just entered, because all I need to do is go over here now and change this to 30, because it's still going to be the same hop because it's the only way out. Okay, so now router 0 is configured. Okay, so going to router 1, let's ask ourselves here, which networks does router 1 know about? So before we look at it, we should be able to figure it out that router 1 knows about the .10 network because it's connected to it via its gigabit 000 interface. It also knows about the .20 network because it's connected to it directly via the 001 interface here. Okay, let's confirm that. Show IP route. Okay, so you can tell here that it does know about the .10 network because it's connected to it. And then this other connected route here is the .20. So the only network it does not know about is the .30 network. So we're going to do what we did earlier. Go to global config mode, IP route, 192.168.30.0, 255.255.255.0. Okay, so in this case, what would router's one next hop be? Okay, it'd be this next interface over, gigabit 000, which is configured as 20.2. Okay, so we'll configure that for the next hop. And there we go. All right, so let's go to router 2. Again, the same process. Which networks does it know about? Which ones does it not know about? It knows about the .30 because it's directly connected to it this way. And it knows about the .20 because it's connected to it through the gigabit 000 interface this way. It does not know about the .10 network, so let's configure that. Same process, IP route 192.168.10.0, 255.255.255.0. Now we need to ask, okay, what is going to be the next hop? So clearly it's going to only be one. It's going to be the gigabit 0001 interface at 20.1. So we'll configure that. And there we go. Now we have that static route. Okay, lastly, router 3. Again, if we go through the process again, it knows about the .30 network because it's directly connected to it via the gigabit 000 interface. But it does not know about the .20 network or about the .10 network. So let's go ahead and configure that so it can know about it. So IP route. I'm going to configure the .10 network first, 192.168.10.0, 255.255.255.0. And then we need to look for what the next hop will be. That'll be the gigabit 001 interface of router 2, which has an IP address of 192.168.30.1. Made a typo there. Okay, so we're going to give it the next hop. .30.1. Okay. Now we're going to have a very similar command to tell it to go to the .20 network. We're going to have the same next hop, the .30.1 interface, and then we're going to just change the network to .20. Okay, so now we have everything configured. All right, so we're already on router 3 here. Let's go ahead and back to privileged exec mode by entering the end command. So we should be able now to ping router 0's G000 interface right here, 192.168.10.1. Let's see if we did everything right. All right, let's wait a second. Okay. So it took a second because ARP had to do its process. It had to do it for each hop, right? But the last two passed. So if we run it again, it will work all the way. All right, so there you go. So today we talked about static routing. Again, a router only knows about the networks that are directly connected to it. So then we have to tell the router about the other routes via either static routing or dynamic routing protocol. So thank you for joining me.